Welcome back to my channel. My name is Libby. I created this channel to share my learnings and things I enjoy in hopes to inspire others and build a high vibrational community. So today I'm talking about hip hop again. I want to talk about my favorite podcast, which is Rory and Mal. Huge shout out to Rory and Mal. I love you guys. Thanks for keeping at it. Thanks for what you do for the culture, the exposure that you give, the energy that you give. I love your style, and I just love listening to your podcast. So I've been a fan since the Joe Budden days. I used to listen to the Joe Budden podcast when Rory and Mal were on it all the time. I loved the story of, Joe overcame a lot of things, and I saw a lot of just self battles. You can be your own worst enemy, and I felt like he overcame things and mended relationships and had this circle around him, Rory and Mal being really good people around him who kind of helped him stick with integrity, stick with heart, and just be a good person. And I remember I used to post about the Joe Budden podcast, and I remember one of my friends from high school said, he's a effer, and like sent me the message, and I was like, that is just hateful. And so I blocked him, and I'm like, I don't want that energy. And sure enough, he's right. It absolutely devastated me when there was some kind of fight or whatever, something happened where Rory and Mal didn't want to pod with Joe on a particular day, and Joe had other people come on the podcast instead of them. To me, it said, hey, I can do this without you. I don't need you guys. This is the Joe Budden podcast. Super egotistical, super going back to his old ways before I thought he had really come around and really was on track of being a good person. And that started a fight. It seemed like they kind of got over it. They talked about it a little bit after that, but then then it seemed like Joe was just all about the money and all in his ego. And I haven't listened to his podcast since Rory and Mal have been off. I'm all about integrity and being a good person, and to me, Rory and Mal really helped Joe keep a level head. That's the kind of people you want around. And when you start burning bridges with the really good people in your life, that's when things start going to shit. So that's why I love that Rory and Mal kept it going. They made it their own. They've gone on tour. Luckily, when I was in Detroit, they had a show in Chicago. And so that was about 2.5, 3 hours away. So I was able to go see their show. And they're just such good people. I love what they're doing for the culture. I love, they're around the mainstream big time people, but they keep it humble. They still talk about the underground too. And it just gives you a peek into New York living. And, they travel all over, and all the interviews that they do. I absolutely love it. It's how I stay tuned in different areas of hip hop that I'm not always exposed to, because I tend to be more underground, but I definitely want to know what's poppin' and what's popular, and they give that and they give the male perspective. They're respectful to women, and I just love the personality that they put into it. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. If you have a favorite podcast, I would love to know yours. That's my favorite hip hop podcast. I have plenty of more favorite podcasts that I listen to. I'm all about uplifting, and Jay Shetty is one of my favorites. Jay Shetty actually has a microphone tattooed on his neck. He used to be really into hip hop growing up, and you would never know because he became a monk, and he's, now on this kind of like Oprah level of interviewing people. So anyways, thanks for being here today. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe.